So, as it says, we're doing wooden spoons and or spatulas. So the first step, and Jack was gracious enough to spend some time and cut out the rough blanks. So this is what we're starting with. So the first step is to cut out the blank. Now, if you're doing a spoon, you can go ahead and use your bandsaw and cut a curve here. You want to try and do that as clean of a radius as you can, and then limit your sanding. Then the next step is on the handle end. I already did it on this, but use your center finder. And the way I did it is I went all four corners and made basically a box in the middle of this, center punched it, and chucked it up. I didn't think to bring a roughing gouge, so this could be some fun. I'm going to use a skew to start rounding it. I'm going to do a little shaping here at the base of the handle first, and then I'll work my way up the handle. Lathe safety. Always double check your chuck, which I have already done. Always start your lathe, if it's a variable speed, at 0. Hand turn this, make sure it clears your tool rest. And with the skew, you want to have the tool slightly above the center, where with a gouge you want to have the tool at center, at a comfortable arm. And I'll start out at a relatively low speed because we're going to be cutting a lot of air. And skew is just like any other tool: anchor, bevel, cut. Before I go any further, with a skew, you only want to cut with the 1/3 of the tool at the most. Now, a lot of people are under the impression that you should only use the heel or the short end, but you can use either. It just depends on where you're going and what you're trying to do.
What kind of wood you got there?
Tree. Jack, what kind of wood is this?
Mahogany.
Mahogany.
It's about 60-year-old mahogany.
It's almost as old as me.
Be gentle, that breaks easily also.
When you're cutting air, you want to take kind of the smaller cuts that you can.
What speed are you using for that?
Right now I'm at 623.
Okay.
When I get the handle rounded out, I'll pick the speed up to get a much smoother finish. But
Just while you're doing a rough cut, you're slow.
yeah. And I'm not going to say that this is the right way or the wrong way, but it's the way that I do it. And every now and then I'll stop and take a look to see where I'm at. Another skill to work on is to turn with your offhand. If you're right-handed like I am, you want to learn and practice turning left-handed, because there's a lot of things that you're going to want to do, like when you get down to this end, you don't want to come in from the end like this. You want to come across that like I was doing here. I started out here and was coming down. Another thing, I don't know if you noticed, I'm not holding my handle way out here. I found that when I'm trying to do some finer work, I have found that just like if you've ever played baseball, choking up on the bat to get better control of your bat speed, I found I have better control of the tool, and I don't have to grip it like I'm holding on, trying to choke somebody.
If you're not gripping your tools super tight, you can give yourself hand cramps.
Or if you have arthritis, like some of us folks, you end up with sore hands at the end of the day. Thank you, Bob. Every time you move your tool rest, before you start the lathe back up, spin it by hand, because as you just noticed, I actually hit the catches do happen. pick the speed up a little bit, going up to about 1100 RPM. Now you can use your tool, if you don't want to shut the lathe off, you can use your tool to check for roundness. If you hear that, you're not round. Now, everything I've done with the skew, you can do with a roughing gouge and a spindle gouge. Like I said, I didn't think to bring a roughing gouge. The skew can be used to rough things out. Instead of taking a cut on the bevel like this, if you just go into it.
You were off camera. Go ahead and try again. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Instead of doing your bevel cut and coming across like this with just a small portion of the blade, you can come in and start out just taking little bites, holding it like you would a scraper.
Peeling cut.
A peeling cut. What would I do without you, Bob?
You did it for a couple months, so.
I didn't do demos. See, you tell except for a little spot here, we're pretty round now. Got to do a little bit more up this end. The hardest part is getting the transition between what's going to be the flat part of your spatula or spoon, getting that transition smooth, because you're not going to make this completely round, so you're going to be going from round to flat. So you can, in this case, take your spindle gouge to get this little part here, but you need to be very careful with the spindle gouge cutting into where you're not round. Cutting air with a spindle gouge is, well, actually, I'm going to I have a small bowl gouge that I'm going to go to for cutting air. I think that would be a safer choice. Safety is paramount. Again, I'll lower the speed a little bit.
Would you like a face shield?
I'm good. So there we have a nice transition now, nice and smooth. I can finish rounding out the handle. And to do that, I'm going to switch to my 1/2 inch skew. And we're also going to pick the speed up a bit.
How fast you going now?
2,200, almost 2,300 RPM. I've gone up over 3,000 doing spindle work on my lathe. The faster the wood speed and the slower you move your tool across it, the smoother, nicer cut you're going to get. Sharp, 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 sharp. You want your tools sharp. Again, anchor, bevel, cut. And if you want to put a rounded end on it, you can roll your skew just like you would a gouge. And you can make contours if you like, make the handle a little bit other than just one-dimensional round. If you want to put a decorative groove in it, I'll use the long end of my skew and just come in with the point. Getting a little tool chatter here. There we go. If you get, because I can't get the tool rest right up against my handle because of my transition here, I would need a smaller tool rest. If you get a little too far over the tool rest, sometimes you actually need to bear down on the tool. Yeah, just, you need to bear down on it, so, because you get over the tool rest and the tool, you can't see it, but it's just exaggerated, but the tool will do that on you, so you need to bear down on it. So I'm fairly happy with that, so I'm going to take off my little end here and turn it over to Julie. And we'll pass it around first. Feel the handle. There's not a whole lot of sanding that needs done there. Just take some of the ridges off of it.
So, who here hasn't tried power carving before? Cool. All right. So this, huh? Yeah. So this is a lot of fun. These are some of the tools that we use. These are both ones that will move a fair amount of wood, which is why they're the ones that I chose to bring out today. This camera's a little bit bigger, so I'm showing for this one. This is a Merlin, which is an angle grinder. These kind of bits are sold by a particular company called Kutzall. You can find them on Amazon for relatively cheap. This will move a lot of wood very quickly. This is a flex shaft rotary grinder, and the main motor is over in this little section over here, which if you move to the mini camera, let's see, here we go. You can see it's hung right here. There is an on button, forward, off, and reverse, so I can flip it on either way to control it, which direction it's going. There is a foot pedal, so when I, there we go, we see how that works. The thing that I like about this particular flex shaft grinder is that it has a very large collet range. So right now I've got a 1/4-inch bit in it, but this will go all the way down to like 1/8 or something really, really small without needing to change out the collet, which is very, very nice, especially if you're trying to move a lot of wood. And the way you swap out the bits, it has a chuck key. It has jaws in there, similar to what you see in a drill. And I can pull any of this wide variety of sizes or bits and put it in it. For today, something like this would be good.
Julie,
Yes.
will those bits fit in like a Dremel or anything?
Yeah.
These ones are a bit big for most Dremels. You would have to check on the collet size of the Dremel. So most of the ones that I've seen, they'll do like 1/16 or 1/8. They don't usually go up to 1/4. They might sell some models that do that, but the Dremels that I have are smaller. I got this one specifically because it takes the bigger, chunkier bits.
So that's all bits that fit the Dremels.
Huh? Yes. They do sell smaller size Kutzall bits for Dremels.
Those are really good.
Oh, love the Kutzall bits. They are fantastic. So because I do have a good amount of wood to remove today, I'm going to be starting out with the Merlin. I'm gonna bring this guy out a little bit. So it's being held by the handle. That's gonna be a little bit wonky. Yeah, it's definitely better if I, let's move some bulk of the wood with that more secure holding right there. Let's see, am I plugged in? There we go. And can we get this fan going?
Sure.
So,
Camera over here so I can see
sure.
a little bit better of an angle.
A quick side note on safety. When you're doing power carving, you make a much finer dust than you do on the lathe. So when you're working on the lathe, you tend to get like sawdust shavings and stuff like that, which will fall out of the air pretty quickly. When you're working with power carving, it tends to be much finer. At my shop, I have a dust collection system. I'm not in my shop, and there's a dust collection system out here, but for the sake of doing the demo, I have a fan with an AC filter on it. This is low tech and very cheap, and you can just kind of set it up on your desk, and this way it'll kind of help reduce the sheer amount of dust that goes everywhere. Also, generally, you can wear something like this, which is a mask setup. This is 3M, and this one is actually also rated for organic compounds. So when I'm doing super glue or finishing or anything that's really stinky, like lacquer, I can wear this and I won't even smell anything. Really, really, really good. It helps protect your lungs. Love this thing. But it's also would completely cover my face and you wouldn't be able to hear anything that I'm saying. So just be aware that this is something that I do wear, or I'll be outside with a fan pointed at me. Another way to avoid the dust, if you have a fan that's pointed across your workspace, as long as like your head is out of the column of air, then you won't get dust back in your eyes. If your head is in the column of air, there's a decent chance you'll get dust in your eyes. I've learned that from experience. All right, let's go. So one other thing with the Kutzall bits, you'll notice it has these nice little teeth on it. You'll notice that I'll do kind of a stroking down motion. If you do some kind of test moves with it, you'll see that there's an angle that you get more deeper tool marks. But if you go across the teeth angle, you'll kind of erase the tool marks as you go, and you'll get a much smoother finish. Actually, I'm going to move this down here because that's where the majority of the dust is going. Cool. Now this blank is a little bit on the thicker side, and there's a bit chunkier amount of wood there. So I'm probably not going to go all the way down to final thickness for the sake of the demo, because I don't want to keep you guys here all day. So you kind of see the motions that I move, how it's going down, and if you take a peek, you can see where there is the tool marks, and I'm getting a not a bad finish. It's pretty decent. Whereas if I was just kind of digging into it, you'd see some really serious stretch marks. Now this would take a fair amount of sanding. And there are different grades of tools that you can use. Let's see. I want to take off this edge and that edge, and I think I want a little bit of like a groove on the inside. So this cuts in a straight line, so it's good for like kind of making marks for where I want to go. This piece of wood unfortunately has a large hole in it, so I might just cut that slice off with the bandsaw later. But for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to work around it. All right, so now I'm going to be trying to get that groove off. Want to smooth that out. Getting some dance on this sander, which this is power carver, which it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. If it was higher up and closer, it wouldn't be as dancing around as much. Scoot this closer to get some more of this dust. That's a little cattywampus. I didn't bring my carving stands. which would have been good, but. Oh, maybe. We're gonna try clamping it on the lathe and see if this works any better. Huh. These are also those like, that particular bit is very, very aggressive, and I was doing more more back and forth motions to remove a bulk of wood. So those are some of those very deep gouges that I was talking about. But once the wood is removed, I can go back over it with a finer tool and smooth a lot of that out. What's our positions looking like? Can you see this?
So what tool is used for that?
To smooth it out?
Yeah.
So you see how this is like a silver color and how big those teeth are
Yeah.
versus the size of the teeth on, say, this tool?
Okay.
Yeah, so the bits that have larger teeth that are more spread out are more aggressive and will remove more wood, but will also leave larger tool marks.
Okay.
So kind of like when you're sanding and you go from like 80 grit to like 100 grit to a 240 grit, you can start with something like this or like this, because this is a bit more the shape that I'm going for. And so once I'm done with this one, I'll move down to this one and smooth things out. Or do a pass with the flatter one, because this one has smaller teeth and it's got that nice flat shape that I'm going for.
They also make bits, they're carbide, and they're fluted.
Yes. Which,
And they don't need the same type of.
they look like this. They have these, but they're kind of bitey, and these will leave a really, really nice surface underneath, but they're not going to move as much wood as I'm trying to move right now,
Okay.
because I'm trying to move a fair amount of wood.
These are the same tools?
Huh?
You use that in that same?
Oh, yeah. That's when I was talking about the nice variety that this collet receives. I can use a really, really wide variety of bits in this rotary tool.
Is there a brand?
Like I said, this was one of the Chinese knockoffs. We recently got a replacement shaft for it. Do you remember what brand it was?
No, it was just a generic piece.
Yeah.
Saber, you can find them on Amazon.
Yeah. It was probably $100. This thing's really great. I mean, there are higher level ones, like Fordham is like the power carving brand, but that's going to be like $500 for a thing. And
It doesn't have a foot pedal.
the foot pedals are really, really nice. So
It has one, and I don't think it's
I specifically got this one because it goes all the way up to 1/4 inch bits, and sometimes I want to move a lot of wood. So, yeah, I think this feels much stable. did a lot of shaping. I'm gonna go back over this with the other one to kind of smooth things out because things are very pitted right now. And also a benefit of having multiple tools to switch between is that they will get hot because they're putting out a lot of force. So I tend to have a couple that I can kind of bounce back and forth. So I'll move a lot of wood with one, move to another, and I'll also have the power tools like resting in front of a fan. As Jack knows, I can be very hard on my tools.
Could you also show the lengthwise? Because I've got a.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah, you better watch when it starts to burn your hand.
Oh, yeah. If it starts burning your hand, you know, give it a minute. Let it rest.
Can you point this down towards the camera? Because there's a lot of detail on here that I'm not seeing. Would look really.
So,
I wouldn't take that off. I would just unclamp it and hang it.
okay. So the, what he's saying that he can see, but you can't really see, is these, you can see those, the deep grooves that are left by that other tool, which it's round and it has big teeth and it moves wood quick, but it'll also, you know, it's making a mess. First, you, sorry, oh my gosh. There we go. And then we kind of, there you go. Cool. That's pretty good. That'll work. Another thing about safety when you're swapping between tools, I just turned off the power switch on my rotary carver so I don't accidentally step on it. I also was mentally, I didn't say it at the time, but I waited for the spinner to stop spinning before I rested it on the floor. That's another thing. It's important, yeah.
Good to know.
So I'm kind of flattening it out, checking the overall shape. Over here is okay. I think I want to get a bit more bulk here and down here, so I'm going to swap to the other tool, which moves stuff faster. And I'm also noticing this is getting a little warm. Fan's doing its job. It's covered in brown. All right, I think I want to go a bit thinner on this edge. All right, that roughly looks like the shape that I'm going for.
Want to show the profile of it again?
Yeah, I'll show the profile of it again. Turn that off. It stopped rotating before I put it down. Noticing it's starting to get a little bit warm. So this is a little bit closer to, let's see. There we go. So like something that's thin enough so that you can get it like maybe under some eggs, underneath a piece of chicken, something like that, you know. Thin at the edge. I like having a little bit of a raised lip on one side, so if I want to like scoop up some liquid with it, I can. Think about like how you're going to use it or how it's going to be used.
Maybe if the camera lens, like you're going to scoop it.
I'm going to scoop the camera.
So you can kind of see the contours.
And right now I've been using the rougher tool, so it is very jaggy. It's got a lot of tool marks, but I'm going to smooth that out, smooth the back out, and then also probably get these edges. Okay, so this is the side that needs more work right now.
How thick do you anticipate the very edge to be finished?
So a bit thinner than this. That's generally how I like it. Something like that. If you think about like how thick wooden spatulas usually are, that's kind of what I'm aiming for. All right, that is looking pretty good. The again, I'd probably like, you know, make the spatula part a little bit smaller and when I'm making them for myself. But like, if you want to turn something really big, you can. I'm going to shape the back a little bit more so you can see how I kind of have that overall slanting shape to it.
So you round the back or you keep it flat?
Yeah, I'm gonna, so right now there's a little bit of like a chunk at the top, and I want to like make that a little bit more even, and I'm gonna round these corners. So yeah, it's getting there. I'm trying not to like take too much time on it, because for the sake of a demo, but you guys can kind of, you're getting the idea. And you can also see like how much of a nicer surface these smaller teeth are leaving compared to the other one, because the other one was leaving big gouges, and this is
A lot of pits and stuff.
yeah. The other one was leaving like almost what feels like tear out, and you can kind of work through the tear out with the finer grits. I'm not going to go too crazy with that because the back would really be better off done on a belt sander, but you get the picture. So there we go, we got an overall shaping, and then some rough edges there, but then I'm going to pull out the other half of this is power sanding. So this was something that I've seen Jack do multiple times. Jack was the first one who kind of showed me how to get this going. And I think actually these bits are from Jack. This screws into a standard drill bit, and there's a whole bunch of different kinds of these. Yeah. It's got kind of a foam pad on it, which helps prevent like deep scratches. And I'm gonna try to get the fan up close by because I'm making an absolute mess. But so this has 80 grit sandpaper on it. And I'm not going to do too much of that because that's very loud and you've all seen sanding before. But this will really help smooth things out. You can use this, you can use sandpaper, but I like having a wide variety of grits, so I'll go over the entire thing with 80 grit, swap up to 120, and it's got like the grippy on the back, so you can just swap it out, put a new one on, go over the whole thing with your higher grit. Yeah. And you can also like, what grit was I on? Oh yeah, it's on the back. So this is just a piece of wood with holes drilled in it, and this is Abranet, which if you haven't used it, it's a type of, it's kind of like sandpaper, but it's on this like mesh-backed fabric so that it doesn't get clogged up, and it lasts a really, really long time. So you can see a lot of these are really, really dog-eared because I've been using them on multiple projects, but they, you kind of lift them up. I'll shoot them out with some compressed air, hit them with something like that to knock the sand out, and then they'll last a very, very long time. So this is the system I use, using the bottom of bowls. You can have the little extendy chuck on it, so you can get down into deeper vases and stuff like that. And any rough tool edges get cleaned up with this. All right. Any questions? I think we're probably out of time for our demo today. Yeah, well, it's 11. All right, any questions? No. All right, anyone want to play around with any of these tools or make your own spatula? Again, we're going to be doing the little workshop at Jack's on the 28th, starting at 9 a.m. It's a Sunday. After 9 a.m. After 9 a.m. Not before 9 a.m. After 9 a.m. All right. Take a peek at all the tools that we have at Jack's, and we'll start cleaning this mess up. Thank you so much, everybody.